Hi, listeners. I'm Debbie, and I am with the Greatest Hype Girls, also known as GHG. So, the Greatest Hype Girls is a dynamic and inclusive group of women with diverse backgrounds and experiences joined to empower each other to achieve their full potential. We hype each other up through podcasts and pop ups. We are a network of empowered and positive hype girls. I have found I founded this organization because I found that it was really difficult to find one spot to access different types of women. I realized that, for certain activities, you had to go to one Facebook group or you had to go to, I don't know, one foundation, one organization. And I thought, what better than to just be inclusive, not just Latinas or not just, a certain sexuality or whatever. Just everyone is included, and there are 5 topics that I really want to be able to constantly cover that I think as women, after asking friends, always want to know and share. And one is health, all kinds of health, mental health, physical health. Relationships, whether it be relationships with family, colleagues, even with ourselves. Financial savviness is a very big one that I have realized that so many of us could grow with this kind of information. Leadership, whether it be at work, in your household. I mean, something simple as how to ask for a raise. So many of us have never been taught that, or how to feel confident enough billing correctly or growing your business. And then ultimately lifestyle, which includes from fashion tips to travel tips to, I don't know, fun stuff like camping, dating, whatever. But I'd like to see this group grow with women that bring something to the table and take something as well. And today is our very first podcast, and I'm really excited to have 2 amazing guests. I felt it was vital and necessary to start this podcast with someone from Flatwater. And Becky Morales is the Chief Mission Officer at Flatwater. Pretty much what they do is they provide therapy in the wake of cancer. It's personal to me because I am a breast cancer survivor twice over. I was diagnosed in 2017 while I was in San Antonio. And from 2017 to 2022, after treatment and everything else, I think the most difficult thing was the angst created, or that you feel of the biggest that I personally felt was it coming back, the fear of it coming back. And something that I learned later was called survivor's guilt. Why am I here, and why did she pass away? I get a little choked up about this. And there was and I remember the first time thinking, I wish when I got diagnosed, they would also give me a therapist. I have all these doctors, but I don't have anyone to deal with what I deal with in my head when I go home. Then I moved to Austin. I get diagnosed a second time on my 5-year checkup. And I realized that I'm just not doing well. The anxiety has gone up just driving. As I drove closer to the hospitals or the doctor's offices, my anxiety level would go up. For me, it manifested in anger. So I was really not a nice patient. I wasn't trying to be mean. It was just, I didn't know how to cope. And I think that at Texas Oncology, my oncologist's office, Travis Cox, they had someone there that was able to connect me with Flatwater. I had no idea what it was. And it was a very instant move. It was a phone call, and it was I believe there wasn't even a document. They just asked me a few questions, and they said, okay, here, choose from these therapists. And that was it. And I believe since February of 2023, I have had the great fortune of benefiting from the therapist that I was connected with through Flatwater, and I am forever grateful. And I think for two reasons, Flatwater should be shared over and over again. One, for those of us that don't know that this help is out there, and two, for those of us that are really looking for a good cause to give back. It's what helps make us sane and make it through the days, the roughest ones. So from the core of my being, thank you for existing. Becky, can you just thank you, and can you tell us about yourself and Flatwater, how it started, where you're at now? Just welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a real honor to be able to join you, and thank you for sharing your story. As you mentioned, my name is Becky Morales. I have the great fortune of um, working with a wonderful organization, an Austin area organization called Flatwater. We are a nonprofit that exists to provide access to mental health therapy services to people that are impacted by a cancer diagnosis. So we have a service area of about 10 counties. And if you have been directly impacted by cancer, if meaning you received the diagnosis yourself at some point in time, if you've been indirectly impacted by cancer, meaning you are a loved one, a partner, a child, a coworker, a faith community member, etc., you've been impacted by a cancer diagnosis in some way, and you're wanting some support around that, around kind of processing and moving through that experience of dealing with cancer yourself, or knowing and having a loved one who is dealing with the disease, reach out to us. We are focused on connecting people with therapists that we collaborate with who wouldn't otherwise have access to these services. And Deb, as you mentioned, there's so much that comes along with a cancer diagnosis, as you know firsthand, and there's so much cost involved. Medical expenses. People may not be able to work for varying lengths of time, and oftentimes that means that something's going to get neglected, just not because somebody wants to, but really because it's an additional expense of paying to see a therapist that, as much as somebody wants to do that, it just may be not possible. And we know how important, we're firm believers in the importance of mental health, and recognizing that cost can easily become a barrier. And we don't want that to be the case for someone. So that's where reaching out to us. We try to make the process as simple as possible, and just getting folks connected with therapists in our community. And so I have the great honor of being able to get up and do this work every single day. It's a great privilege for me, and it's largely born out of my personal connection to cancer as well, and someone whose family has greatly been impacted by the disease. And so I have had many loved ones in my immediate as well as extended family that have been impacted by the disease, and to be able to support this work in what we do at Flatwater is just a great honor for me.
Thank you so much. So again, greatest hype girls, hyping women up, hyping each other up. I was fortunate enough to have a strong family to support me, but I also had good friends and even strangers through social media. I would receive blankets, I'd receive like little bath salts, like things, and it's like, wow, I wonder, like, that is so kind that somebody would do that for me. And you learn that people are just inherently good, and you feel it, like you just know from far away, someone's, while they're ordering that blanket on Amazon, or you know that they're wishing you well, and it's palpable, right? So with breast cancer, and I'm only not that any other of the other cancers don't matter, but in my personal experience, it was breast cancer. What I did notice was, well, not what I noticed, but what happened was a bilateral mastectomy, a reconstruction, chemotherapy, and then 5 years of tamoxifen. And then after that, with a second diagnosis, it was one lumpectomy. Then that wasn't enough. The margins were not clear, so there was a second lumpectomy. After that, a radical hysterectomy. Soon after that, chemotherapy again, and this time radiation in a span of a year and a half. And what it does is it makes the way your body look change, like just completely. And, but it's still a reconstruction and you still are scarred. And a hysterectomy, you still have scars. And radiation, I still have burn marks. And and then again, it's a mind game. You wake up and you look at yourself and you're like, God, look like a scar here. I have this burn here from the chemo. Like, God, I'm just all patched up. And then you're like, no, don't feel guilty. You're here. Other people are not here. Why are you beating yourself? And this terrible internal fight. And you're like, oh, don't take I need to wear these pants to go all the way up here so you can't see the scar from here. And I need to make sure and it doesn't go away. And so through camaraderie and friendship, and connecting, you realize you're not alone. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be breast cancer. It could be an accident. It could be an emotional scar that someone left you, whether you were in a damaging relationship, that they told you were ugly, you were fat, you were this, you were that. And there's nothing better than another woman to hype you up and say, no, you're not. Look at you. You're amazing. Mm-hmm. Look at you. And I learned this when my daughter got married about a year and a half ago. And while she was getting dressed, all of her bridesmaids were really close friends of hers. And every 5 seconds, I noticed that one would tell the other, oh my God, you're a dreamboat. A dreamboat? That's a good word. Really? Do you think? Yeah, look at you. And then one would tell the other, why are you such a supermodel? But with conviction, they weren't joking. They were serious. You have the most amazing smile. You're like the Colgate girl, really. And then you're like, I wish I had friends that would tell me that I'm a Colgate girl, And it's the positive energy that you felt. And I thought, they're just messing around, right? They're just playing. But they weren't. That's really how they lived. They lived, and I feel that this is probably how they hype each other up on a daily. And they live in a beautiful little world where it's so cool. And I just, the word hype just stayed with me. So anything they do, you're wearing a miniskirt, oh, I feel like this is too short. You look like a Barbie. You're a Barbie. Look at you. You're Barbie. And then you leave, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm Barbie. So I want to share that alongside with you is another super great hype girl. Sitting next to me is Valentina. Valentina MacGregor is an amazing photographer. And another hype girl. I met her through Women of Austin. And what's cool about Valentina, or what I thought could bring us together with the podcast and pop-up, is to create a pop-up where we do, why don't you take it from here? And this is Valentina MacGregor.
Thank you. So yeah, I know when you reached out to me and you told me what you wanted to do and what you'd been through, and I loved the idea of creating an event with you that we can ultimately be each other's hype girls. And I'm a portrait photographer, but I specialize in women's photography through Boudoir, maternity. And so that is part of my job. And so for me, the idea of having an event where we can invite, or we can have women come in and it's for a much reduced price than I would ever shoot a boudoir. And we do it, overlapping. So they have a private space, but we have an area that they can mingle in my studio, and they can literally do exactly what you're talking about, where they can just hype each other up and tell each other how gorgeous. Well, one's getting their makeup on, others are having drinks in the front, and it just be this incredible event of body positivity and self-love and all of the things that you're describing, that even if you haven't been through cancer, every woman struggles with aging, with our bodies changing when we have children, with all of the insecurities.
Gravity.
And yeah, not to mention that, but I think that I just was so excited to be a part of it. And then, we were trying to figure out how we would kind of manage it. And then she mentioned Flatwater and wanting to give 20% of the proceeds. And that was like sealing the deal.
That was when she said, I'll do it. And then I'll reduce my rate and I'll give them 20%.
Absolutely. Because I was like, okay, that is an incredible, to me, the idea of having a family member. My husband's mom passed away of pancreatic cancer when she was only 42. And the idea of not only for the patient, but for the family to be able to have that kind of support in therapy, it's invaluable. Like, you just can't put a price on it, but it's so expensive. And so the fact that you guys, have that ability to come in and take that burden away, but still have them receive great services, that's just amazing. So
yeah,
I was like,
yeah, thank you. I did notice there was a turn. I mean, I was trying to pitch it to her, and then there was a change in tone and a turn of like this. I mean, she had pretty much agreed to it, but then when I said no, really, but I really want to give proceeds to Flatwater, and that's when she's like, done deal.
Yeah.
And I will do a mini quickie.
Yeah, we're calling it. It's going to be a boudoir quickie. We're calling it. So, so clients can come in, people can come in, do 45 minutes of makeup, professional makeup, and 45 minutes of boudoir shooting, and they get pictures included in their fee, and then 20% goes to Flatwater. So we're excited to have this event.
Okay. Tell me, it's to me, it sounds like fun. I saw the studio yesterday. It's really amazing. Go hang out with a bunch of women, sit there and just kind of wait for the makeup. There's a makeup station, so you sit there, and then they do your makeup professionally. The photography happens behind a curtain or behind a wall. Yep. And then you just kind of mingle with others and chit chat. Again, it's very communal. But can you explain what the intrinsic values? I mean, we just talked about people, like women, like, I know, because I need to lose. I said it yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
Like, if I could just lose 7 more pounds, I think I would be ready for this. And also, like, I don't have a boyfriend. Who am I going to give the pictures to? I don't have a husband, nothing. Like, what am I just going to, like, take a picture of myself with my shoulders sticking out? Look at it? Like, what? Why? Why would I do that? Tell me, how is this such an amazing gift, even if it's just to yourself?
I think, what I've realized from being a woman and photographing and working with women for the last decade is that we're attracted to beauty. Women just are. We're just attracted. You walk into a restaurant, you might be in the middle of your dinner, and a beautiful woman, a beautiful child, or a beautiful man walks in, and we just notice. If we're out and about and see a flower or a beautiful sunset, we stop and notice these things.
Sure.
Men are much less likely to notice these things. And so in that same way, I think we look at ourselves, like we look at our own beauty and often nitpick and pick ourselves apart. And I watch women come into my studio and see their pictures, and often the first thing they do is they start picking themselves apart. And for me, the value in doing this is that I personally did it. So I had to paid another photographer, and I did a boudoir photo shoot, and I never knew how healing it would be I had just gone through a year of a really difficult time with my oldest child, that they were just in a very bad place mentally, and we've been doing therapy and all of the things. And so for me, it was just like this kind of, okay, I need a reset for myself. And I invested in this incredible photo shoot. And it was like, as soon as I had the experience, before I'd even seen the pictures, I instantly felt beautiful. I felt empowered. I felt strong. I felt like myself again. And I think like that's the beauty. We're attracted to beauty, kind of tying it all together. We are attracted to beauty, but the reason for that is because that's our power. Like in a lot of ways, when we feel beautiful, and I'm not talking about the societal norm of beauty of like being a Barbie or, like looking like that. I'm talking about when you yourself in your body feel beautiful because you did something, bought a pretty dress or, put your makeup on and you feel beautiful.
You're wearing like a delicious perfume.
And we walk out and we feel like we can do anything. Like we've all been there where we're like, like you walk in a room and you're like, okay, I'm magnetic a little bit, right? And that's the feeling that I want women to feel in my studio. And I want them to then be able to have these pictures that they can look back on and feel that again every single time they look at these pictures. That's the power.
Sure. I like it. Yeah. I think I could do it, and maybe
you should do it.
And maybe just
you should do it. No, nothing. You let me do.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those that you're like, oh, am I too old? Or like, I don't think there's such a thing as being too old. And I the work that you do is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I definitely focus on every session is different. Every person's comfort level is different. So I'm going to go with that person's comfort level. And, but the beauty of hiring a professional photographer and doing something like this with a photographer is that person is actually trained to only take, or I'm trained for sure, to only take pictures from your best angles, to only, to find the best lighting, and so those are angles that you never get to see yourself. So you don't know how good you look, you don't know how good your butt looks in that angle or
the back of my shoulder or, I don't know about you, Becky, but all I see is like this. And I don't even know if I have a long mirror at home,
Yeah. I mean, it's so that's, you get to see yourself from all these different professional, like level angles and lighting and everything. So you see the best of you.
Becky, have you ever done one?
Yeah. I have not. And I found myself as y'all were talking, I found myself thinking of some of the same things that you were just mentioning, Deb. Like, I could never do that, or like, why would I do this? Who's going to see this kind of thing? And at the same time, I think I'm reminded kind of what Valentina was speaking to is that there's a lot of things that we bump into in life, right? I find myself saying like, I could never do this, or definitely not me. Somebody else could do that, but not me. And it seems like it's a great opportunity to be reminded of the beauty that we do absolutely have within, that sometimes, it's kind of your crown gets tilted a little bit, right?
Yeah. And that's
just being able to be being reminded of that and feeling empowered as a woman, as a person, just that, that sounds incredible to be able to be reminded of that.
Would you do it if your best friend went with you?
I think that would be totally fun.
Like
right?
if you and your best friend were like, look, let's invest in this. Let's do it. Any 20% is going back to Flatwater. Like it's a good thing. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun, and you can hype each other up, right? Yeah. Like we're talking about, like that. Like we all need that cheerleader.
Like, like, oh my gosh, I wish I had brought my pearl necklace. Could I borrow yours? Or, you know what? I thought I would look good in a white shirt, but maybe I want to do a man's ties. Whatever. That's where all the community occurs in that space, where the mimosas are. But
the mimosas and the music and
the mimosas, the dancing, the music. I can feel it. I'm hyped already for it. Okay, I have one question for you. Becky, what is one question you wish I had asked but I didn't?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe like what are things like maybe as a woman, maybe how I what I tap into when I'm having a not so good day, or when I need to be reminded of my, power and
Superpower.
strength and fuerza, as we've been talking about,
Yes.
right? Like just
Okay, so what gives
maybe
you
what I do.
ánimo? What gives you ánimo? ¿Qué te da cranque?
I think if I can, I think probably like a lot of people, things can always feel like there's never enough hours in the day, right? And it always feels like there's a lot of things undone, or things I haven't been able to accomplish. I think when I can catch myself, and sometimes I'm blessed to have some just amazing friends, and loved ones that can remind me to slow down if needed. But just when I can pause and I think kind of, smell the roses, right? And
What
really
does a
kind of
pause look
just,
like for you?
I think having time that is unstructured,
Like, do
giving
you go to a
myself,
movie? Do you just go
yeah,
home
not
and chill?
moving, there being no, I'm a big music person, but like just having music off, no TV in the background, nobody that I'm texting with or
Yeah, just
anything,
put
like
everything
just
away.
really just tuning in, I think, to my surroundings, to my body, just giving me a sense of I think that reminder of there are bigger things, right, besides me,
Yeah.
just in life, and I think that when I can stop to do that is really powerful. When I can stop and listen to my voice within that I know is there, that fuerza, that strength,
Yes.
that power that sometimes the volume gets turned down on. I think if I can pause and stop and just listen, that's, I think, what I find tends to be helpful for me and just keeping me going. The trick is finding the space and giving myself
We
that
have
quiet
it.
and
We have it.
solitude.
We just and again we have it, and I think it's it's part of things that we would discuss in this organization. It's how to demand it and how to get there to recharge, because a lot of people rely on us, believe it or not, and we can't function until we're all reset.
Yeah, I think for me, like the beginning of the year is such a great time to kind of reset that self-love button to be like,
Mhm.
okay, what do I want this year? What are the and start blocking things out. For me, it's blocking out my calendar, like what you were saying a little bit. That's huge because when you start blocking out, whether it's vacation time or just thinking time or time to go to yoga or whatever,
Right.
then that's when then you're like, okay, and it just fills your cup, and then you can do so much more.
Right.
As women, we're so guilty of doing everything for everybody and then putting ourselves like at the very bottom of the list.
I think I did that. I know I did that at the beginning of this year. I literally went and bought like a wall calendar, and I started to do like, even if it was day by day or but I didn't like do like a whole month, like a year long thing, but yeah, just like on these days, this is what I'm doing, and on these days I'm not doing the thing. And I think, you're absolutely right. So now to you, Valentina.
Okay.
What's a question that you wish I had asked you, but I didn't ask?
Okay. Probably just kind of how I got here in terms of what I do and and where I see it going, I guess. No, that's fine. But I think so I can answer that if you want.
Yes.
So I studied fashion design in Milan and in Italy for 3 years, and then I came back and worked in product development for a company that was like a fitness apparel company. And I was in charge, because it was a smaller company, we worked from like beginning to end. And so part of it was the photo shoot of the product and putting it on the website. And so that's when I realized, wait, I love that part. So I dove into photography. This was like 17 years ago. And so I dove into photography, and then I quickly realized, okay, I did everything from like photographing, chasing children in parks, and and then moved into studio photography, and I was photographing women primarily, but it was just normal portraits. And then I went, like I spoke about a little bit, that hard year, and I was going to Italy again for a photography workshop that I had signed up with, and I reached out to a photographer and that I really admired, that I wanted to work with, and I'd done a workshop with her as well. So And it turned out she would photograph me, and I did that boudoir photo shoot. And it was like a soft boudoir. It's what I call now a soft boudoir, but it was the most empowering thing. And I came back, I was like, that's all I want to do now. Like just that feeling of like how I felt after that without even seeing the pictures. So I was hooked. And so now that's primarily what I work with, a lot of branding, but I work with a lot of women as well that just want to do
an amazing job.
Beautiful. And it's more of an artistic, I'm trying to capture your beauty and your strength, not exploit. You know what I mean? Like we're not, it's a different kind of boudoir. Right. So it's, I think it's a little bit more artistic but
I love it.
Yeah. And now like, I feel like that has kind of led the way into now a lot of what I'm helping women. Like I help kind of talk to women about their next level with regards to their businesses a lot, because a lot of women that come to me are entrepreneurs. So it's kind of exciting to see where this will go. But yeah.
Right. I love it. And such a beautiful job. She's got portraits up all over her studio, and it's just amazing.
So wait, Deb, I thought it would be fun for you to answer the same question. Like if you were on a podcast and you were speaking about this new venture and Greatest Hype Girls, what would be a question that you would want to be asked?
Oh, what would be a question that I would want to be asked? Wow, now I know what it feels like to be on the hot seat. I think I'd want to be asked like, why this? Yeah. Like, why the greatest Hype Girls? Why not Latina girls or Cancer girls or, why the greatest? Like, why the biggest?
Yeah.
I think I would want to be asked, like, what compelled you? I was actually asked that yesterday by a guy, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to answer you.
So tell us why.
Because I myself was looking for that community. In raising I was married young and divorced young, and moved to San Antonio from my hometown, Laredo, Texas, and I was alone. And I was, but I knew that I had to create a village. And I did, and it was so helpful. I think my kids are great people because of it. And so I knew that community was how I've survived. When it would be unrealistic for me to say, oh, I was a single parent. Yeah, I was like alone single, but like my neighbors helped and everyone else helped. And then there was also community in so many other aspects of my life. When I got sick, there was community. When the first time when I decided to travel and just be a vagabond, there were moments where I just did zany things, but there was always a community. And I felt like how cool would it be if they could all just be in one? Like you could just be in one place, because I get confused now, and I don't know if it's age or like chemo, like brain fog, but I get confused. Like, wait, are these the ATX girls? Like women of Austin, like the Latinas over here, the gym. They're all over the place. Like, who was the girl, the one with the side hustle ideas? And like, how cool would it be if we could just do it to where everybody could just be in one spot? And even speaking to our producer, we started with middle-aged women. That's what I wanted to do. And I was like, nah, because I'm friends with young girls too. And they're awesome, Like I love my daughters and their friends. I have so many younger friends and they bring so much insight. And I don't want to, like, I want everyone. And I want it to be super inclusive of everyone, of whatever. And so that is what compelled me to make it like, not just any hype girl, but the best one.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Before we sign off, I have a few.
I'm scared.
Don't be scared. These are fun. Okay, Becky. Okay, so I think I want to do this at the end of every episode. Becky, Would you rather, no, I don't even know if you're married or dating, but let's just pretend like you're dating. Would you rather go on a date with someone that you saw did not wash their hands after using the bathroom, or someone who brought their mom to the date?
Oh, I am gonna have to go with so would I rather? Out of those two options, I would have to go with the one who brought mom along.
Really?
Yes.
With a conversation, of course, right? About
Really?
how hopefully
Like,
this
what
doesn't
if you
happen
could just
again.
give the dude hand sanitizer?
I
Maybe
love
he meant
it.
to use hand sanitizer.
No, I'm with her.
Yeah,
I
I've
think
gotta-
she's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, y'all. Like just
Because that's a
germs.
mama's boy right there. That lady's not going
But
anywhere.
also fast forwards the date, like for the 20th date, like you're meeting the mom, you know what's ahead, like you know any issues is, it's all gonna come up.
No,
in that date.
I would be like, then hand sanitizer.
You're like keeper or
Yeah, I don't know. I still
No.
would need like legit 20 seconds with some hot water and like
This
Man.
soap, a couple of
That
pumps of dial soap to be okay.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Y'all are on the same side.
That's
I would just say, like, give the guy hand sanitizer and just be like, I'm a little OCD and over having the mom there. I don't know. I would die of nerves if some guy brought his mom. I would just die.
Oh,
but-
girl, I'd interview her. I'd be like, all right, I want to know all.
What
of
if
it.
she interviewed you?
It just depends who takes control first.
Right?
That's
Okay,
funny.
so Valentina.
Oh gosh.
Okay, this one. I know you're married,
Uh-huh.
but we're just gonna pretend you're not.
Yeah.
Would you rather
Uh-huh.
go on a date with a guy that shows up late or a guy that doesn't pick up the bill?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
like
gonna go with the guy
like
that's
50,
late
50.
because full disclosure, I'm notoriously late always, so I'll feel less bad because I might be showing up at the same time as him. So,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna go with the late. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, me too, because I would be like, ooh, why are you making
Not a
me
cheapskate.
pay?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's one
is
thing
this
my
what life is gonna look like?
Yeah, exactly.
you?
Yeah. My husband always says that one of the things he liked when we went on one of our first dates is that I offered to pay. I'm like, I mean, I just probably like pulled out my wallet, like
Fake. You're not supposed to do
all
that.
right,
I
I'll-
saw that on a dating tip, lady.
Oh,
on-
really?
yeah, you're not
Well,
supposed to
apparently it
pretend.
worked for him 21 years later. Which, by the way, Deb, do you know? I have to tell the story. 'Cause this is
Becky,
a
you're not
crazy
going to
story.
believe this
I mean,
story. This was
Thank you.
for
Yes.
real.
This is a crazy story. Okay, so her and I get connected, and we
Because I go
we
on,
talk
on my Facebook page and I'm like, I need a female photographer
right.
that can shoot at the end of January.
So
Right?
one of the people that recommends her, anyways, so we were talking on the phone and she's like, oh, and this person told me about you. And I'm like, wait, how do you know her? I'm like, anyways, my sister was married to her brother. So I was like, wait, how do you know her? And she's like, oh, she's one of my best friends. She was one of my best friends in San Antonio. And she's like, yeah, I even went to a wedding with her in San Miguel with it was an Argentinian and a Scottish guy. And I was like, that was my wedding. She went to my
God.
wedding
Yes.
21 years
I
ago.
was like, wait,
Oh
you're
my
the Valentina. And I go, I know your story. I go there. You all got the bagpiper from Mexico City. And he played down the streets of San Miguel.
Uh-huh.
And I still say that was next to my daughter. She also got married in San Miguel. It was one of the most beautiful weddings that I had ever been to.
That's
I was like,
incredible.
at the end of the night, your parents started dancing tango.
Uh-huh.
And then his family taught us jigs.
like the Scottish.
And we did it. And it was
That's
so
amazing.
much fun.
I
And
heard
she's
you.
like, Jeb, are you serious? You were at I was like, I
This
swear I
is-
was at your wedding.
It's so crazy. So
And
then
then
I
you know
went
what she does?
downstairs, immediately pulled out the wedding pictures, and I found her. I was like, oh my gosh, you are
Yeah.
in my wedding pictures.
And you know what?
Well,
I
you have
was
to
like,
post it on the.
so hungry trying to catch that bouquet. Like you could totally see me. And as you can see, no,
Hello.
That's
it did
amazing.
so not work. It did not
so
work.
crazy. Small world, right?
it is
It's
a
such
small
world.
I posted
Yeah.
about it on my Instagram.
I know, I couldn't believe
And I
it.
got so many comments of people saying like, oh my God, crazy thing like that store happened to me. And all these stories of I just think whether it's the universe or serendipity or God thing, I just think we were meant to be connected. So this is,
Yeah. So, ladies, you guys are amazing. Thank you so
Good.
much. I know this is going to be a great success. Becky, I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your workday for us. And I cannot thank Flatwater enough for what you have done. I would not be here sitting in this chair with the courage to get out of my bed and like do life, but not for Flatwater. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me join in the start of this journey for you, Deb. And thanks for, cultivating something that I imagine will be incredibly successful and empowering for a lot of women out there.
Thanks.
Becky, I have a question. Where can people find you or your services or information?
Absolutely. Folks can navigate over to our website, is flatwater.org, flatwater.org. You can find information there about how to volunteer if you're interested, about upcoming events. And also, if you're in need of our services, just navigate over to the Get Care tab on our website, and you can fill out a quick little intake form, and we will be happy to get in touch with you and kind of talk through potential options for services.
Awesome. Thank you. And Valentina, can you tell us where to find you? If we like someone on here just doesn't want to, maybe they do the Boudoir shoot, but they also want to get headshots or.
Yeah, so I do branding, headshots, boudoir maternity, or any kind of portrait for women. And I am on valentina.portraiture. On Instagram is where probably you'll find me the most. I'm most active, and valentinaportraiture.com online. And we are going to post the link to the event.
Right.
And we'll be doing that on Instagram, both on the Greatest Hype Girls Instagram and then on my Instagram as well. So
hoping that Flatwater would be willing to do so. Also, the way it's going to work is we are limited with slots. So we have an Eventbrite where you pay for your slot, and then there's the separate. Then you get forwarded to choose your time slot and your day. We're probably going to run Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, 2 days
to run the photo shoots. And so that is where you would kind of sign up for your shoot.
Yeah, and it's great because the way you're doing it is like they'll get their membership with the Greatest Hype Girls,
right,
and then come to the event as well, and it's like 2 for 1.
Okay, thank you so much, Becky.
It was great to meet you.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Yes, great to meet you.